What's up, everyone? Another episode of Season Ticket filling the airwaves. Dan Hula here, along with my co-host and good friend, Scott Schroff.
Hello, people.
Bernardo is still no longer with us right now. He may be back as early as Thursday, along with most of our viewers, probably, because you guys only seem to care about him. But otherwise, today, we are light on the news, but heavy on the conversation. We got some good stuff to talk about today. We're going to start with the former Denver quarterback, Brock Osweiler, being signed to the Houston Texans for a 4-year, $72 million deal. That is a lot for a backup. I'll put that out there.
I mean, he's not going to be a backup with them.
Well,
but
I know.
For a career backup kind of guy, Brock Osweiler, that's a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, he's only had 7 starts.
Understand this. It's also $72 million isn't guaranteed. That full money isn't guaranteed. But he's getting a good damn chunk of that.
That's true.
He's
even
getting
though
a good
the NFL...
with the contracts, that's a mess.
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But
you can get hurt in the NFL, and it's like, well, too bad.
Fuck you.
Who cares? It's not like you were owed any money, because our contracts are non-guaranteed.
Meanwhile, you're going to get permanent mental disabilities from getting hit in the head so many times. Yeah, it's truly wonderful.
Yeah, but that's why the NFL... We probably won't be talking much about NFL if this survives in 10 years. Meaning season ticket and the NFL.
Whichever does first, probably.
Probably the NFL, the rate it's going at. Players retiring left and right.
But just to throw some stats out there, Brock Osweiler, in the 7 games he did start, or over the season, not to mention times where he did back up, he has 2,000 career yards, 10 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Very low numbers, especially in the touchdown department. But understandably so, if you only started 7 games, and maybe, I don't know how many games he's even backed up.
Well, he's been the backup for about 4 years now.
And Peyton Manning's been like a workhorse for so long. I can't really think of a time where he was...
No, he played in maybe a few games at the end of games when they were either blowing someone out or getting blown out, most of the time blowing someone out. But Osweiler, to get 72 minutes, that's crazy. The Texans, you need a franchise guy. It's rare that a quarterback hits the market like at this price.
Yeah, that's big.
At this age, with this much talent behind him, this is a very rare thing to happen, especially, because quarterbacks normally get locked up when they're young.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, yeah.
Quarterbacks
if you're Michael Vick, yeah.
Quarterbacks are getting locked up when they're young. No, with contract extensions. At least that's what I hope we're talking about.
Not prison sentence.
Unless you're like Steve McNair or who, God knows what. But... Osweiler, you're an interesting case.
He's just like, I'm going to get a bunch of money... And I'm probably going to do okay.
Honestly, a lot of guys got to start taking the Osweiler method, to be a backup for a while, start a little bit, show a little bit of potential, and then get millions.
So I guess for now, it's sorry, Matt Schaub.
Matt Schaub hasn't been with the Texans for 80 years. You're a little late on that one. He hasn't been with the Texans since, Nam, probably. Honestly.
I don't think that's accurate.
Brian Hoyer was their quarterback who started the god-awful playoff game against the Chiefs where he threw 4 interceptions.
You got pretty butthurt about that one, even though you're not even a Texans fan.
I was pissed about the Texans making the playoffs because the Jets had a better record. But whatever, division's bullshit. I hate the NFL.
See, you feel the butthurt. Now, I understand 11-5 and you don't make the playoffs, but neither here nor there. The Jets still suck. Speaking of the Jets and the Broncos, Mark Butt-Fumble Sanchez being traded to Denver for a 7th round pick. I wrote that terribly.
Yeah, second would be an interesting case to begin with.
A 7th round pick. Not little to no stats for last year, being that he was starting behind the wonderful Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
So,
Mark Sanchez, the Sanchez. You know who the last quarterback was that was traded to a team that needed a quarterback for a 7th round pick? That was Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he put up an amazing year last year. Yeah. With weapons and with the defense. But this seems to be the same situation.
But you got to understand, Ryan Fitzpatrick was pretty unknown, No,
he wasn't unknown. I mean,
he wasn't a nobody, but nobody expected him to step up the way that he did.
Well, nobody's going to expect Sanchez to do it either. That's why
I don't expect Sanchez to do it because if
anybody's going to do it,
if the pass is any indication, he's going to do exactly what he did when he was on the Jets. Nothing.
Well, he did good with the Jets the first 2 years when he was just a game manager, and honestly, he tried to do that in Philadelphia, but their weird system, I don't blame that. Honestly, I think he could really excel in Philadelphia.
In
Denver. He can really, because He's got like a decent running back core. He's got decent wide receivers, and he's got an amazing defense. Yeah, they lost some guys, but they're still going to be good. I don't see them going back to the Super Bowl, but I definitely see a good run in their future because Mark Sanchez isn't a horrible quarterback. And to give up a 7th-round pick, really, like, it's just taking a guy. Now, I don't think this is the only quarterback that the Broncos will get, but I think Sanchez will win the job over a guy like Kaepernick if they do end up getting Kaepernick or something like that. I do think he's got more experience. He's a better, like, he looks like a good quarterback, and then he gets in games and he's just like,
well, looks isn't everything.
No, but not look, but I mean, like, in preseason, everything. He's
understandably
a good quarterback, but then he just kind of falls apart. But if he could just manage games for the Broncos, which I don't know what they're going to need exactly because, I'm not an expert in the Broncos, but I just find it interesting if you are currently playing on the Broncos, your system's going to be changing because now both quarterbacks are gone. Yeah, and looking into it,
they're going to have a whole new leader come next season. Yeah, I'm surprised. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm surprised because they're also the Broncos said they are not interested in Ryan Fitzpatrick, which kind of surprises me because I'm like, this is the kind of perfect guy you'd want, a guy better than a game manager, but at the very least he's a game manager. Sanchez is at the highest peak. Game manager.
So we're gonna pull another guy who's been in the hell of the Jets.
Yeah, so I mean Ryan Fitzpatrick just. It would make sense, but they said they're not interested in him at the money he wants, which, I mean, that's understandable. He wants a lot of money, and he's old. And that's the same thing with the Jets. The Jets, I mean, a lot of money is old, and going into the Jets, they've also been looking at RG3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jets are looking at RG3, very interesting to see.
Because
what do you think of that as a fan?
Apparently, they spent 2 days looking at him. They were very impressed, and they might get into a deal with him. They said... they didn't say, but there are rumors out there that he'd be looking for anywhere between a $6 million, $10 million contract, most likely 1 year, because it's kind of a prove-it contract. Like, can you still be a quarterback? Can you still do that thing that you did at that one time?
Before you broke your leg 3 times?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, I blame Mike Shanahan for that, but the RG3, I mean, if the Jets can get him, Kaepernick's out there, it's going to be interesting. There isn't normally a lot of quarterback drama in the offseason because a lot of teams have their quarterbacks set, or at least have some guy that they think might be all right, or they're going to draft a guy. But I really think when it comes down to it, Denver's probably going to have Mark Sanchez. They might pick up Kaepernick if they can, but then looking at it, they might just draft another guy, a high draft pick, and just try to develop him, maybe give him a season or two, a guy like Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, I was also pretty surprised to see how many quarterbacks are getting thrown around. Not only, I mean, some were because
surprised to see how much your wife has been thrown around.
Well, I don't have a wife, so there's that. But... to see so many quarterbacks go around, because I always looked at it like quarterbacks can be a gamble as far as because these guys could have an awful season and it'll just fuck your whole system.
Honestly, yeah, it's crazy
because you could have the best system in the world. You have a bad quarterback, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, because he's the first guy with the ball other than the center. But what's the center going to do with it? But no, the quarterback gives the ball to the players that do the stuff. Unless you're Cam Newton, then you do it yourself. Or you're RG3 back
you could have you could have the best system in the world, but when your boy throws 14 interceptions, you ain't going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Mark Sanchez, Brock Osweiler, these guys are going to be interesting to watch throughout this season. If Sanchez even gets any playing time, Osweiler will definitely be the starting quarterback over there.
Most
unless something crazy happens. But, I mean... It'll be interesting to watch at the very least for those guys.
Talking some more football here, the Jacksonville Jaguars have signed Prince Amukamara to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Surprisingly low, but understandably so. Amukamara having a pretty well-known career being on the 2011 Super Bowl with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
And generally putting up good numbers with them, but a chronically injured player. So he was injured last year.
Yeah,
so
chronic.
Yeah,
I like chronic. You know who else likes chronic? Martavis Bryant, and he's got to stop with that. We'll get into that later. But chronic,
I like
chronic injury.
I like where you're going with that. That was good stuff right there.
Anyway, Prince Amukamara. Love your name, bro. Love your name.
The Giants still making big off-season moves. I gotta say, mainly because of the freed up cap space. With guys like Amukamara and Beeson. They've made a lot of room. Wow.
Yeah, the Giants got a whole new line. They got the dude from the Jets, Snacks, Damon Harrison. They got the dude from the Dolphins. Apparently they like to pick out of my division. Whatever, fine. Olivier Vernon, who's a very good player, very good edge rusher. And then they brought JPP back on a pretty cheap contract. Which, I mean, $10 million or whatever, but it's cheap for him. He's getting paid less than last year. If he can figure out how to work with the nub of a hand he's got, then maybe he can make something work there.
Well,
also, Giants getting what's his name, Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, it's actually surprising because, the
Giants
Giants were never much for moves being made in the offseason. There was a signing here and there, but mostly they were very, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, this year they're like, it is broke.
It is broke, and it's cost us a coach already.
Yeah.
So,
Apparently, Tom Coughlin's still very butthurt about being pushed out, so...
I mean, when you don't make the playoffs 4 years after the win...
I wouldn't say it's his fault, though.
It's not his fault, but as a Giants fan... The more I watch the games, it just seemed to me like the parade was starting to pass him by. So
I guess I understand.
He was just getting too old.
He was getting older, but I don't know. He
75.
I mean, considering he retired, I don't know. He's a good coach, but he's not. He's nobody special. Nobody special. Yes. You'll get that.
No, they won't, because nobody cared about that then. It was a precursor to the season ticket, but we don't talk about that. That's deep into our past. Anyway. Moving on to some baseball here, Asdrubal Cabrera being shut down for 2 weeks for knee strain. Talking a little bit about the Mets and their preseason woes.
Yeah.
Maybe not woes, but that will mean that Wilmer Flores will have to step up into the shortstop position, and either him or Ruben Tejada, depending on how extensive this injury is. Hopefully, it's nothing serious.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a knee strain, which isn't normally that bad, but the way that the Mets doctors operate. He could be out for the season.
Yeah.
That's no exaggeration. I don't trust it. It was the 1 year with Jose Reyes and Beltran. He's going to be out 2 weeks. He's going to be out a month. It's out for the entire season.
Season. Never coming back. He's dead.
But we just saw him. He's dead. He's gone. No, I don't know. The Jets doctors always... There's something. Them too. But screw it. The Mets. He shut down for 2 weeks. They said he'll probably... be ready for somewhere around the start of the season, but probably not until the third or fourth game once they come back home to play the Phillies.
Opinion-wise, would you feel bad if Wilmer Flores or Ruben Tejada, for that matter, were to start?
No, that's why we have the depth. That's why we have the depth that we have. If a guy like goddamn Omar Quintanilla was playing shortstop, then I would feel bad. Quintanilla. But having a backup, if he was out for 3 months and maybe Flores was playing for 3 months, okay, I wouldn't feel terrible about it, but I would still like to have Asdrubal Cabrera because he's a better hitter, probably a better fielder. And he's at least the same fielder and probably a better hitter. So I want that guy there. But it's good to have depth off your bench. And to me, I think I don't know. Because the Mets were said to maybe trade Ruben Tejada, and Sandy Alderson did come out and say that they still would do it if offered the right package. But I don't know. This to me shows.
Do it if you're offered the right package.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Ruben Tejada, he's a good player. He's surprisingly he's one of the better players this spring training, along with Wilmer Flores. They're both raking in spring training right now, ridiculous.
And both of them folk heroes as far as last season goes.
Oh yeah, they're the great. I mean, they got to be with us, man. I mean, I know Ruben Tejada's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, but
that man broke his leg for us. How do you...
I mean, Chase Utley broke his leg.
Well, Chase Utley could go fuck himself. So
I mean, we rallied around him. It was a good time.
Exactly.
It was a good time for Tejada, but still.
Still going on inside the Mets as far as their organization goes. Deotta, the center fielder that was signed in the offseason, when the Mets were pretty much afraid that they weren't going to get Cespedes, he was signed to a 1 year, $32 million contract.
No, 1 year, $32 million?
Whoa.
That would be a 1 year, $6 million contract.
$6 million.
$32 million? What is the goddamn fucking Mickey Mantle? What are we doing?
Well, you know what? That was just one tweet. It was a nobody trade. I didn't think we were going to get Cespedes. I was like, this fucking asshole is going to be in our center field. He's not the man I want. So that's how I played
1 year, about $6 million. I mean, it's a little bit more or less depending on incentives.
Nonetheless, now it's kind of interesting to see, that move was made, again, afraid that we weren't going to get Cespedes. Now we have Cespedes. Now we have a guy we're paying $6 million that may play on the off chance. More likely
I want to keep Deotta.
Really?
Because why not? He's a good player. He's a solid outfielder. He can play all three outfield positions. He can run decently. He hits adequately. I like him as a player. Yeah, he is a little bit overpaid for what he is. He's a little bit older. And yeah, he's not going to get as much playing time as he wants. But to me, to have a guy like that in your bench is understandable. And going off of that, if he is to be traded, if some team offers us a package, like the Mets a package, and the Mets want to take it, he has to consent to their trade, because consent is a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, always make sure you consent before you do anything. That season ticket's official sponsorship. We're leaving it at endorsement, for that matter. We're leaving it at that. Anyway, go on.
De Alza has to consent to a trade, so, most likely he would because he would get more playing time in another place, but I don't know. I kind of want to win a championship. And
he
can help, too, because think about it. One guy gets hurt. One guy gets hurt in the outfield. Let's say Conforto gets hurt. Somebody. Mm-hmm. Then let's say, even if De Alza isn't the guy they plug in there, or they do a platoon they move Cespedes to left, they do a platoon in the outfield.
Right.
Someone's going to get hurt. It's going to happen. Cespedes may get hurt.
And
Who knows?
generally, at first I wasn't too sure. I would say, yeah, maybe we could trade him, but looking at it now, I actually do agree with you because he can be moved around, apparently. He's also a better hitter than Juan Lagares, who, personally, he's had his chance to show us. He had some great seasons.
Last year he was hurt throughout the whole year.
I guess, but
we'll
even
see what
before
he is.
then, they said he was supposed to be the greatest. He did good, but it's not really
enough.
I
like Juan Lagares, and we're definitely going to keep him because we signed him to a contract extension 2 years ago. But I like him. He's a good defensive center fielder, decent hitting. He hits lefties very well, and that's why they would keep him there. And De Alza hits righties very well.
Exactly.
So that would be a perfect platoon situation, which they had in set until Cespedes came pretty cheap. $26 million, whatever, not cheap, but came cheap to the Mets. The Mets were like, well, this platoon, all right, it works, but then if we can get this guy and just plug him into the huge Cuban cars.
That beautiful Cuban horse-riding, spider-driving bastard.
I love that man. I like Cespedes. De Alza, good player, very good player, but
it's preparation.
If he gets traded, I'm not going to be wholly disheartened because, the Mets do have some guys who could still play the outfield. They have Brandon Nimmo, who's a young prospect who might come up.
He's supposed to be
he's supposed to be nice, but he's oft injured as well, and I believe he's injured right now. They also have Eric Campbell who can play a few positions. As a pinch hitter, he's actually
he is, but as a regular fielder,
I never want to play in the regular field, but but he bats 300 as a pinch hitter and gets on base like 490, so it's actually ridiculous. Keep him on the bench. He probably will be up at some point during the season due to injuries. He might start off the season as a Met because with Cabrera being on the DL probably to start the season, Campbell might start out the season with the club. It might be Herrera as well. It might be Matt Reynolds. You don't really know yet.
I don't know. Maybe it's my post-traumatic stress disorder as a Mets fan. Afraid oh my God, we're going to suck again.
It's very possible.
It is. Well, it is. I don't want to think about it.
Exactly, but Mets will be good this season.
Hopefully so.
Got some pitchers. Jacob deGrom scratched today with a back stiffness.
Still a solid month.
He still threw his bullpen, so exactly. he's not that hurt.
So hopefully it's just a small, day off. Maybe that'll fix him. But
yeah, definitely.
Enough about the Mets for now. We're going to talk some New York Rangers. The Rangers have dropped their last 2 games, which has moved them back into 3rd in their division. While that's not necessarily significant, they are still in the playoff hunt, very well so. But it's very interesting because both Rick Nash and Henrik Lundqvist had played in these last 2 games. For the first time, Rick Nash had been on injured reserve. Well, necessarily week to week on IR. And Lundqvist had been switching in and out with their newer goalie, Antti Rata, who has performed very beautifully as Scott tries to make himself known on the screen here.
Yes, thank you.
But nonetheless, it's very interesting to see they have dropped some games with these guys back. Now, it makes you think, is that going to have an effect? Personally, actually, I think Lundqvist can have an effect on the team. He hasn't played in a while, so while it is a great possibility, I think
he's probably just a little rusty.
Actually, yeah. And he is before Rata had come in when it was, Jesus, I can't even remember the other goalie's name. It's slipping my mind right now. But last year, Lundqvist was very, very overworked as a player, and it had a great effect of him. Especially during the playoff run.
Yeah, because you get tired.
Because he was playing like 6 games at a time.
And a physical sport.
I was very happy to see Rata step up and perform so well. It's very comforting to see.
And goalies don't get breaks during the game. Well, okay, they're not as physical throughout the game, but they're still on the ice the whole time and in an awkward position.
And there is so much
like a catcher.
So much work involved with the goalie. obviously you're stopping 90-mile pieces of rubber flying 90 miles an hour at you. You're trying to stop it from going into a big-ass net, so obviously that's a heavy job.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to see Roxas step in, but I'm very afraid of the King getting rusty. So that is something
definitely.
to be watched.
I mean, the Rangers are obviously going to make the playoffs.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, and they're going to be good, but you just got to give them a little time. Him and Nash, you got to just wait on them to start performing like they should. And a side note, since I don't know a whole lot about hockey, I was playing NHL 16 the other day, and Rick Nash, I was skating up the ice with him, because that's what they call it.
Okay, there's some...
And... he's really slow. For a scorer, he's slower than I thought he would be. He's not like a Chris Kreider.
Then again, Rick Nash has been somewhat of a disappointment as far as the Rangers go because he was signed to be this big goal scorer. He had scored close to 40 goals the year before he came onto the Rangers, and he hasn't done much since then. While he did put up terrific numbers, he had he had more than 30 in the regular season last year. He was pretty much non-existent in the postseason. You know, generally when you need him the most, he hasn't been able to perform. So he's becoming like this big contract that the Rangers signed and ended up not being worth it.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean,
but as far as the two games, maybe I'm overreacting because there has been other things going on in the background. Tanner Glass was day-to-day with an upper body injury sustained on Saturday, which caused him not to play yesterday. So
I mean, even the ancillary guys, you gotta. I mean. You want your full team coming down the stretch.
So there's a lot of things being thrown into the mix right now. I guess we'll have to wait until they play, I believe, Pittsburgh? No, not Pittsburgh. That was a lie. I'm not totally
lying to you on the hair because Fox News said I could in a Supreme Court decision.
Here we go again. We are bleeding our political beliefs into there. But nonetheless, we're staying very neutral because, God damn it, we're journalists!
Are we?
I hope we are. But... that said, we will have to wait until Wednesday until the Rangers play once again.
Arnold Palmer. Oh, man.
Let's talk
some golf. I don't watch that crap.
Oh, I did play golf on Saturday, so there is that.
At what time in the day?
We were talking about 10 p.m. and sneaking on the golf courses. But
that's what we do.
Neither here
Season ticket. We are professionals.
Neither here nor there. But that will wrap us...
Oh, will it? Will it wrap the show? I mean, no, actually, I did...
Do you have more sports to talk about,
I did want to mention Martavis Bryant's suspension for the year. Because I think... we mentioned it briefly before when I said that he liked chronic. Because apparently he does. Maybe a little bit too much. Maybe, but he's also got some other problems going on.
Maybe it's not that type of chronic. Maybe it's the Dr. Dre album. You don't know.
Who knows?
He sampled with Led Zeppelin on that album. That was a good fucking album.
All right. I mean, but no. Martavis Bryant apparently suspended for the entirety of next year, which is... pretty,
shit.
Like, that's crazy.
That's huge.
I looked on my phone and I'm like, what the hell could this man do to, like...
Guys that have... A guy that knocked out his girlfriend in an elevator didn't get suspended for a year, so what the hell did this man do?
But, like, apparently, he's failed multiple drug tests.
Oh, there's
that. Apparently it's a lot. They're not saying how many. But he was suspended for 4 games last year, and, apparently he skipped the 10-game suspension and went straight to the full year suspension. Apparently it's alcohol and drugs. Apparently marijuana. It said that because apparently he said they have a marijuana problem, whatever that is.
Hey, don't joke about marijuana.
Marijuana
it's a drug,
problems.
Man.
Yeah,
I don't care what anyone says. Marijuana is a drug. You could get addicted to pretty much anything.
You can get addicted mentally, but there is no physical addiction.
Well, of course there is, but mentally you could get addicted to fucking cereal, so it can happen.
But is that his case? I don't know some guy just said that. I don't know who the guy was that said that, but...
So, obviously, something we're going to have to watch, and I assume more news is going to come out
very. I mean, he's not going to play at all next year. He was one of the Steelers, very integral in their system last year. Being their number 2 receiver behind Antonio Brown. So, I mean, who are they going to have there to be that number 2 receiver next year? I mean, they do have some decent guys there.
It's kind of convenient.
I mean, Darius Hayward-Bay.
Because now we got free agency. Maybe they'll look for somebody to sign, at least for a
I mean, it's a little like, some of the guys, the wide receiver free agent class this year isn't really that great, but maybe they can sign a guy that can help them out at least
Well, they're going to need somebody in there.
I don't know exactly how it works with the paying him and stuff, but I'm assuming the Steelers shouldn't have to pay him.
I thought it's a year without pay. I thought it was like a job. I always operated under that assumption that those suspensions are without pay.
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, well, no. Okay, well, yeah, that would make sense that he doesn't get paid. But that also makes another question. He can apply for reinstatement in 2017, which if he's shown that he's, progressed towards a good, he's gone in the right direction, which who knows, because guys like Josh Gordon and Justin Blackmon, two other guys that have these same kind of problems, receivers, and were suspended for full years, haven't come back in the league since then. So maybe this is the end for Martavis Bryant, but we're hoping not. He's a very good player, very young player. I believe only 26 years old. Hopefully he could play in multiple seasons to come. He can apply for reinstatement after this season, which is crazy because it's this season, but it's like a whole calendar year pretty much.
So he's essentially become the Henry Mejia of the NFL.
Pretty much. I mean, Henry, okay, he didn't get a lifetime ban. He's not that bad.
Well,
and Henry Mejia
is appealing his sentence.
He's appealing it, and he's saying it's a whole conspiracy against him.
See,
you're not that important, bro.
See, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like somebody who's been caught, and they're literally trying anything right now to get out of it.
He's trying to bring out the conspiracy theories. He's like, Alex Jones, come here. Let's talk about this in Spanish.
The government is watching you. It's all conspiracy. Bernie 2016, I don't know if he said that. He might have. It might just be
that was a direct translation from Spanish to English.
I don't know. Maybe the Manitowoc County Sheriff is in on it. It's making a murderer all over again.
They found the PEDs after it had been laying there for 7 days.
In plain sight. No sort of doubt about that.
If you don't understand what we're talking about, go watch Making a Murderer on Netflix.
And we at Season Ticket will endorse #Justice for Stephen Avery unless we find out he's actually murdered that poor woman.
What if he comes out one day and just trolls everybody? I fucking killed her, bro. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, this is a well-made documentary.
And then, well, we are going to have to live with that. So that will wrap us for sports today.
Anybody watching on Periscope, tiny bit of an after show, that'll be fun.
Yeah, there will.
You guys stay, guys on Spreaker, you stay as well.
Yeah. Well, Spreaker, if you're on Spreaker, you could jump on over to Periscope, watch our after show. We will answer questions.
Twitter @SeasonTicketNJ.
People who hopefully aren't trying to troll us like the last time I was here.
Yeah, that was
scumbag.
Fun. Hated that guy.
Douche.
I wonder if he's still watching. He followed us after that.
He might be. I don't know.
Hey, what's up? If you're here.
But nonetheless, Thursday we got a show. Keep watching our Instagram and our Twitter. We will be posting our March Madness brackets.
That'll be interesting.
Obviously, the bracket has been announced today. That is the only time, personally, I care about college basketball. Beyond maybe like, oh yeah, I heard Seton Hall is doing good.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do here.
But until then, we will see you guys in the cheap seats.